Hey everyone, this is Misery Loves Company, a weekly reading series from miserytourism.com, where we welcome, I think the term I always use is transgressive. Oh, excuse me, I'm fucking up right off the bat here. Sorry. The term I use is transgressive and outsider authors come to read their work. And I don't think I need to belabor it. This happens every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. So first up tonight, let me just check our list, is Josh. Josh, are you with us? You are with us. I just saw you talking.
Always, constantly, the pulse is constantly throbbing. So yeah, just Jesus, I shouldn't need that. But three poems, all unpublished.
Mhm.
Again, and
Do you have a link to any of them, or?
no, and I was going to put it in the Google Doc that I know that you, but just I didn't have time. And
Yeah, no problem.
one of them is finalized. The other two are actually, I don't like to treat this as a workshop, but I guess it's going to be because two of them are quite recent. Two of the three. So the first one is date night. Ever think about how taking someone out for dinner is like paying them to eat? Yeah, me neither. I don't want to be distracted from my goal. I'd rather focus on dismantling capitalism so I can replace it with a system that only benefits me. That's art school. That's literally every person I've met who went to art school. Don't worry, it's totally progressive. Please help me commodify my indifference so it does something other than fuck me over. Orange. Trying to find other things to do than having midnight meltdowns on Twitter. My work's HR department has warned me about that. So I've stopped drinking for a couple days, and I'm thinking of taking a photo of myself as I am now, laying in bed, eating peanut M&Ms. I'd caption it, "Nature is healing." Then I pop another one in my mouth, orange, I think. February 10th, 2021. And then, what if your addiction isn't art? Scanned symptoms of cocaine abuse like it was a menu. Saw trouble swallowing and was like, yeah, there are worse ones, death mostly, or heart related stuff. And just realized that I'm potentially in an abusive relationship with myself. Then wondered if there is some asylum where they won't let me see myself, at least not without advance notice or a doctor's note, and visits would be limited. Those are the three.
Those, excuse me, I'm going to have this sting in my throat all night, aren't I? This is going to be terrible. No, those were great, Josh. Those were hilarious as usual. I love the line, "Please help me commodify my indifference." That's like so great. I could almost would like to use that as like a tagline for misery tourism, right up there with the home of human suffering. Like it's
I was
a, sorry, Rudy.
Oh no, I was just gonna. I just wanted to underline that that's very on point, very misery on point brand. Sorry.
Well, my brand offers licensing fees.
Boy,
the sliding scale. So
Yeah, hey, talk about commodifying your indifference. Right? No, that first one in particular was like just like viciously self-aware, right? I love that. And a lot of your poetry is, and it just makes them like extra sharp and extra funny, and I enjoy it.
well, thanks a lot, because those are the first two were being workshopped, and then "What if your addiction isn't art" is what I'm considering as a title for what I'm trying to do, and that was the done. But thanks, that's good to know. I'm glad.
When you say what you're trying to do, are you talking about a collection or?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So but the other two were just way more recent, like this week, literally. So it was nice to know the workshop has been fruitful for me and not annoying for you, which is good.
Always a plus. Always.
Not yet. But yeah, I'm going to mute myself now, and we'll go on.
I just noticed, Mark, in the chat, you asked how to sign up. We have a open mic period after everyone finishes reading. So if you do have something you want to read tonight, you can just wait for the open mic and then anyone can participate. Or if you're looking to read at a future date, just shoot my account or the Misery Tourism DM on Twitter, and then I'll sign you up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and great to see so many familiar faces. Like, I love all your guys' reading, and like all the shit that I've been reading and you guys have been writing is incredible, and it's like been such an honor to be part of the community, dude. Like, yeah, it's been really cool. So thank you for that.
Yeah, man, definitely. I fucking love your work. The piece we just published recently, the Yankee Candle impotence piece, is one of my all-time favorites. I'm not even gonna lie. So thank you for coming, man.
Thank you.
Next up is just checking the doc here. Gabriel. Oh, you still with us, Gabriel?
Yeah, right here.
Awesome. I'll just drop the link in the chat. I'm assuming since this piece is unpublished, you don't want me to tweet out that link, but I will tag you on Twitter anyway.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's super fresh. It's going to be, yeah, I literally just finished this earlier today, so have mercy on the roughness of it.
You might need to change the sharing options on that real quick, because in the chat they're saying that they don't have access.
Oh shit. Let me see.
Yeah, you probably know off the top of your head how you change the sharing settings, right?
Yeah, just give me 1 second, folks.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure.
Okay, sure. Copy link. There you go. Here, I'm going to send you the new one, William. That's okay. For some reason, I can't. It's not copy and pasting into the link.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, feel free. If you shoot it to me via email, I'll throw it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay, that should work. And if it doesn't work, we'll just free ball it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I think I just got an email about it. Oh, no, that's something else. If people want to try that existing link and just see if it works, I didn't get a new one. Oh, wait, just got it. Sorry, my bad. Okay.
Are y'all on Verizon or something? Is this Verizon?
All right, I'm putting the new one works for me. I'm putting it in the chat. People can let me know whether it works or not. But either way, Gabriel, I'd say just you can read it, and if people can follow along, they can, and if not, they can listen.
Thanks. Yeah, it's like I said, I just finished this this week, so it's have mercy on the roughness. It's called The Maid and the Maidens. I lived in a dystopic apartment building on La Brea and Franklin, a sort of slum and vague transition where they charged too much for what it was to give the illusion of class, as if less money in my bank account every month would convince me this dark, stagnant puddle at the deep end of the swimming pool had some sort of potential, its only promise a diver's mortality. The 20-story building was far too tall for its own good, a stack of deceit. I lived on the top floor, which they boasted as the penthouse, but really meant the only perk was a daily extended tour of the owner's total negligence every time I came or went. My view was ironically aligned with the elevated outside dining of Yamashiro, the fanciest Japanese restaurant in the neighborhood. The night I came home from getting hired at Venus Fair, I found myself on my balcony staring at patrons enjoying their expensive meals, my eyes hybrid with hate and envy. But I deprived myself of too long a view, worried they might catch me looking, stare deep into my exposed soul and know immediately what I had just finished doing for money. But you can't be picky when you have $200 to your name and rent due in 2 weeks. I had scoured the classifieds, circling the only one I was qualified for at that short of notice, Janitor wanted, apply in person. It gave the address and nothing else. I fired up my dead aunt's Volvo and headed over the hill to the deep edges of North Hollywood, way down Van Ness Boulevard, all uncharted territory to me. I pulled up in front of a large white stucco building, its logo like hot pink lipstick, that frantic, dated cursive like someone in a hurry to leave. I walked up, seeing my reflection in the glass doors that appeared to house a sex shop. I walked in, nothing I hadn't seen before, multicultural dildos, flavored lubricants, all four walls filled with DVDs like Cunt Hunter, The Return, and Ass Clowns Get Down, that sort of thing. Piece of cake, I thought. Janitor stuff here would be like, what, vacuuming, an occasional bathroom check? Hi, can I help you? Oh, yeah, I was here to apply for the janitor job. The clerk took a deep breath that unnerved me. Sure, here's the application and a pen. You can fill it out right here if you don't mind. It was a basic one-page application I finished in 2 minutes. Great, can you start tomorrow? I could tell him and I sensed a mutual desperation. Yes, I said. Great, let me show you around. Follow me, he said, as he led me on an unfortunate tour of Venus Fair showgirls. Sorry, this is reminding me of Jake's home layout here, where the sex shop was merely the front lobby. Beyond the threshold I did not initially notice was the central nervous system of the establishment. 20 enclosed cubicles, each the size of a department store dressing room, separated in half with plexiglass, where a woman grinded her gear on one side, while the patron on the other side combusted his piston, both elemental to the supply and demand motions of this machine I was now part of. Me, the newest janitor at the busiest 24-hour jack-off joint in North Hollywood, cleaning the very stuff that makes us. For a fleeting second, I was surprised how unsurprised I was, but I was already a bit stained from this world. A large group of close female friends who moved to LA when I did immediately became strippers, so exotic dancing clubs no longer held the allure they should have for a guy like me in his early 20s. Another friend of mine had moved to San Francisco and become a janitor at the Lusty Lady, so the first-hand initiation of this kind of sex work just seemed like tradition, like just another dare. Like just another thing I want to back down from, like just another way to atone for past sins, like just another way my girls don't have to feel like that they're at the absolute bottom rung, like sometimes maybe I should get stuck on the floor. Like just how there's pride in being a garbage man. Someone has to do it. If I don't do it, who will? Only the garbage I'm disposing of is a vital ingredient in what makes a human being ejaculated all over a transparent partition as the woman on the other side does her best not to reciprocate with projectile vomit. Room 8 ready, room 12, room 16 ready. By the end of the first day, I began to recognize every girl's voice over the personal intercom, no matter how blown their speakers were. I would only learn their code names like cherry, peaches, an apparent craving for fruit in this unnourishing environment. The monikers were embedded into me by force of repetition. Bonds were formed quickly, our relationships twofold intrinsic. Since they split their tips with me, my pace was of utmost importance because, number one, due to the assembly line nature of the place, the faster we got him out, the faster we can get him in, and number two, a quick lesson on the consistency of cum. If one waits too long to get a fresh dripping puddle of desperate ejaculation, it will coagulate on the glass divider, making what should be a quick swipe with your bleach water-soaked mop into a Sisyphean task where you make a bigger mess the more you smear it around on that vertical surface. Anything over 20 seconds and I would be holding up progress. Another itchy patron already waiting at the door, my sister in arms on the awkward sneak preview display, trying not to lose her composure. While some amenities were provided for the more hygienic discretion, a Kleenex dispenser on the wall to the patron's right-hand side, these were rarely utilized. It was unanimous preference to not only shoot onto the glass, but to cover as much real estate on that surface as they could. The view of the exposed, dripping money shot is what they paid good money for, a virtual superimposed fluid collage. Their mess of manhood, they could imagine, was tactile on the flesh of our jaded temptress. My swing shifts melted into eternities with no beginning or end. I'd fall asleep standing up at 3 a.m. to be woken up by another, room 9, ready, room 4, room 19, ready. I'd stumble in with a fresh bucket of antiseptic rescue I'd only have to immediately pour out, as the smell of bleach and cum and dirt and sweat and overlapping cloying perfumes would begin to swirl into cruel serpents slithering into my nostrils. Then it was me projectile vomiting, running into the bathroom when I should have been running the other direction to room 17, room 5, ready. The girls and I in solidarity, inheriting the sickness, the duration of 8 hours a day or night. Sometimes I'd smell it when I was driving home or at my apartment alone. I was unprepared when I saw one girl smile, not once but twice to me. I didn't know it was possible or even allowed to because no one did, not even the patrons after they tossed their rocks, testimony to the pleasure void. But when Chastity, the only unfruit, asked me to walk her to the bus stop, she said, "It's part of your job, you know." She smirked, and that was one. Then we started walking and she told me I could call her Jenny, and that was two. The bus stop was 3 blocks away, so there was time for me to confide. "Hey, Jenny, I think I'm gonna quit tomorrow. Like, just walk out. But I don't want to leave you girls drowning in jizz, you know?" "I wish you could just take me with you," she said, "but I get it. Janitors quit faster than the girls, so we're used to it. You want me to let the other girls know?" "Yeah, maybe." "What happens when a janitor quits?" "Oh, it's kind of funny, actually. That just means the owner has to take them up. We get kind of a kick out of it. It's like revenge." "Oh," and that's when I smiled, but I turned my head because it felt too vulnerable, too fast. "Well, here comes your bus. Tell the girls I'm going to walk out at 3 p.m. tomorrow when it's slow." "Why even show up?" she asked. It's hard to explain. Even when I hate something, I sometimes want to do it one last time to remember how bad it is. "Ah, I get that. I definitely get that. Okay, I'll let the girls know." She put one leg on the bus to board, then turned around and gave me the warmest hug I've ever felt, then swung her duffel bag back over her shoulder. I showed up at noon the next day feeling smug, knowing in just 3 hours I'd be turning my back on our little slice of hell on earth, where sex sold shameful, deflated, one-sided afterglows. I made every swipe of my mop count, punctuating every stab of the glass with renewed propulsive chivalry. So it was at my 0 hour I decided I was going to be the best cum mopper who had ever lived, even if it was just for 30 more minutes. I was in the janitor's closet 1 minute until 3 when I heard some of the girls giddily whispering in the hall where 6 of the 20 rooms staggered out into the exit. As I emerged, one said, "There he is." A smattering of clapping whipped my head to the left. By the time I saw 6 girls hanging out of the rooms, and behind them at least a dozen more peeking their heads from around the corner, it had turned into a round of applause. I felt naked again, so my face went red, as did the needle of their volume, sprinkled with affectionate exclamations, contagious. I blew them all a kiss, sincere as I could in the absurdity of the moment, and then waved one more time, more half-heartedly over my shoulder, then made up for it by theatrically kicking open the glass exit door. That night I sat on my balcony nursing a whiskey drink very slowly as I stared at the Japanese restaurant again, allowing my eyes an extended voyeuristic glare. However those people could afford those expensive meals was no longer an issue to me because I was confident I had done more than they ever could to earn my money that week. Whiskey was the only thing that could get the smell of Venus Fair out of my brain, that putrid odor which had graduated into a taste in my mouth until I neutralized it with another sip. It was my 6th drink within the hour since my girlfriend had arrived to help me celebrate my freedom, though the liberation was demoting into uncertainty. As I sat there alone on my balcony, she lay naked in my bed, waiting to take me. I lost count of how many times I said I would be right there. She left the next morning, convinced something was wrong with her. Then I lost count of how many times I said, "It's not you, it's me."
Oh, wow, that was fantastic. There's so many like wonderful turns of phrase in there. Like you so like perfectly capture like the demoralizing details of the routine of doing this, right? Like I
I could
saw people in the chat saying just how viscerally they could imagine that experience of having to go in and like mop up cum all day. And like what I really loved though was I love the way you described the cum because you kept bringing it back.
I need
to
more.
the idea.
I see. There's cum. It doesn't show up in a thesaurus, man. I needed more names for it. I felt it was getting a little.
No, but I love the way that like at once like
Doesn't
it's
show up in
this,
a thesaurus. I love that.
it like you don't shy away from the fact that it's this vile, disgusting thing, but you also keep beating home, no pun intended, the fact that this is like the very source of human life, right? And it's getting
right.
all over the glass, all over the walls, and it's just like the fucking awful irony of that. Really, like it really resonates.
Yeah, no one thinks of the cum mopper. Anyone that's been to a peep show. Like, they
I
think
think
of,
of it.
I do. I think of the cum mopper all the time.
Actually,
I spent a lot of time thinking of the
I
cum
do.
mopper.
I
That's
spent a
good.
lot of time.
I do.
I spent a lot of time trying to pursue the cum mopper because in my final year of journalism school, I wanted to write about a sex club, and while there, I found the guy. I found the cum mopper, and I wanted to profile him, but I was there for like a broad sense of like I want to write a story about this, and so he started talking about how he would do things and how there's a reason why all the surfaces are leather and other things.
Right.
And I went back to my instructor and was like, yeah, I'm going to write about the cum mopper.
I'm
And,
touched.
and she was literally like, okay, cool. So get him down for an interview. And when I went back, he didn't want to talk anymore. So
Yeah, it was like it was privileged information for so long, and I tried to write about it over and over again, but this is the first time I really kind of got it all down. So yeah, it's like, yeah, I used to only tell like really close friends that I used to be a cum mopper, but now it's like, now that I have it all down, it's gained some
yeah, I'd say
more comedy.
it's glamorous. I'd say it's glamorous.
Yeah.
No, that was fantastic. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Next up, Griffin. You with us,
All right.
Griffin? So
Yeah.
my understanding is you're going to be reading a piece by a different author tonight. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is a good friend of mine who isn't me at all. And this is a piece that's going to be published in the Bear Creek Gazette. So the author, Sophia, would be here right now, but there's a number of reasons she's unable to come, including some sort of eldritch curse. The email was unclear. So this is a hard lacrosse to bear by sports correspondent unofficial Sophia Haugen. My exile in Bear Creek, the result of a hex cast upon me by my 5 most recent ex-girlfriends who have formed a cabal/polycule or cabalicule to exact their revenge upon me for my fear of commitment, general emotional distance, and tendency to complain about my breakups at length in any newspaper foolish enough to publish me. It's been a refreshing break from the hustle and bustle of the big city. All the other lesbians are in happily monogamous relationships, so I can't get my heart broken by, for example, a gorgeous flannel-clad small-town lumberdyke who disappears mysteriously every full moon, X number 3 of the cabalicule. I've managed to kick my nicotine addiction, since none of the stores in town stock my preferred brand of imported European cigarettes. The photographs of late-stage lung cancer patients give them an extra death trip thrill that domestic brands just cannot match. And most importantly, this town has no goddamn sports teams, allowing me to finally be free of the ancient family curse that compels me to pursue that most abhorrent of professions, sports journalism. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. I am still trapped here and will be until the cabalicule breaks up. Unlikely, my compulsive perusal of their social media accounts indicates they have moved in together and are weighing the merits of adoption versus in vitro fertilization. Or a majority of them either die or take mercy on me, even less likely. Most of them are at least passingly immortal, and none have the capacity for forgiveness, at least where I am concerned. But Bear Creek High School recently hired a new phys ed teacher, a Ms. Cleopatra Corvallis, and she has brought the specter of sport to this fine town in the form of a high school lacrosse team. She also has a small rainbow flag sticker in the back window of her Subaru Forester. I am now yearning, soon I will begin to pine. I have never watched a lacrosse game before. I have no interest in watching a lacrosse game. But if there are sports, I must write about them. And so on a miserable, chilly Sunday afternoon, when I should have been buried in blankets in my illegal sublet in the dentist's office basement, huffing nitrous oxide and watching bad cop shows on my brother's Netflix account, I dragged myself down to the rec center to watch the Bear Creek Acolytes face off in their season opener against the Hemlock Philosophers. I must confess, I did not watch much of the game. Most of my time was spent gazing longingly at Coach Corvallis, playing solitaire on my phone until it ran out of battery, and or meditating on the nature of the curse that has kept me chained to this town and how I might escape its clutches, sleeping each night in a box of Bear Creek soil, leaving my still beating heart in the hollow oak at the center of town, apologizing. Those parts of the game I did pay attention to were generally unexciting, the fumbling athletic efforts of gangly teens still adjusting to their adolescent growth spurts. Some might say I am being overly critical. My typical journalistic remit is collegiate sports, and so I'm accustomed to a higher level of competence than either the acolytes or the philosophers displayed. I would ask my hypothetical detractors to consider the following. I don't give a shit. These kids suck, Lamau. At halftime, already trailing 4-1, the Acolytes resorted to drastic measures. Taking a leaf from Bear Creek's last attempt at high school sports, the '86 Bear Creek Vermin football team, and also taking a leaf from the runic grimoire of Svein the Bloodless, the copy in Bear Creek Public Library is notable for its human skin binding, said to have been made from the flayed skin of the town's founder, whose name shall not be said. Coach Corvallis led the team in a ritual dance that instilled in them the berserker gong fury of the ancient Norsemen. I paid especially close attention to this unwholesome rite, for unwholesome reasons of my own. I like a woman who knows her way around a forbidden tome of arcane lore. For those of you keeping track at home, this is where the pining started. Mouths frothed, sticks were bitten, blood was drawn. Only a little blood, though. Junior Christy Bartzman bit down too hard on her stick in the throes of berserker gong and shattered her mouthguard, stabbing her soft palate with shards of plastic. She was given some gauze and aspirin by the school nurse and is expected to make a full recovery. Unfortunately for our hometown heroes, well, your hometown heroes, sometimes forbidden occult secrets are simply not enough. Despite their untamed berserker fury, the Acolytes lost 5-4. There was much wailing and gnashing of teeth. They would have done that if they won. The berserker gong doesn't really discriminate, but it would have been triumphant wailing. This was just depressing. Their next game will be an away game against the Dagon's Bay Fishermen, or possibly Fishmen. The school newspaper I rescued from a dumpster is not in the best condition. I will not be attending, as per the curse. Oh, and Coach Corvallis, if you're reading this, I'm free every night except Thursday, because that's when my WoW guild raids. I dropped my phone into a storm drain last night to stop myself from going further in debt to the developers of Catgirl Harem Gotcha Elite, but you can get in touch with me by calling the dentist's office after hours. If you call during business hours, the receptionist will deny any knowledge of my existence, but you can set up an appointment for your bi-yearly cleaning. Dental health is important.
That was hilarious. I love the mingling of like really mundane small town shit and like weird occult nonsense. Like the Kabalicule, now that's some chef kiss shit right there. That, like, as neologisms go, that's one of the best. No, that was fantastic. That was hilarious. Thank you for reading, Griffin.
I'm glad you appreciated it.
It was very good. It was very good. Let Sophia know how much I enjoyed it.
Sophia, yeah, who definitely exists.
Who definitely exists, yeah.
It was very good, despite your failure to deliver Nyla North Sun. poetry. I
I
found it
know. I'm
very,
sorry
very engaging.
for my failure. Really, it's the failure of the University of Illinois for
No, I know. I'm
not
sorry.
risking
I find it. No,
COVID to deliver
no.
my obscure poetry chapter.
I was honestly, I don't know, obsessed when I found out that labor of order, but I'm also familiar with it. So, but it was all good. And
All good. Okay. Thanks, Josh. So up next, speaking of ancient Norsemen, Brandon.
wait, can I ask?
Yeah.
Do Norsemen count as POC?
Well,
No, fuck off.
Brandon can answer that question.
I
because
think
I
that's a
don't
safe.
care.
I think that's a safe no.
Unless you mean people of Caucasian.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an interesting question.
Oh boy.
No, sorry.
Yeah, I'm
That
like,
will be answered.
No, you're making me
later
very,
after
very
the
nervous with
reading's
that
over.
one, Josh.
Okay. Sorry, Brandon. It's all yours.
It's all good. That's that actually gave me a little bit of a break there. All right. So no background on this one. I'm just gonna let you guys enjoy the ride. She's fucking crying again. I can't stand it when she cries. She's been so emotional for the last 6 months, ever since she found out she was pregnant. I wasn't consulted. We weren't ready to be parents. What the fuck was she thinking? We'd only been seeing each other for 3 months. Only known each other for 4. We weren't even living together yet, but that selfish bitch messed up on taking her birth control, and here we fucking are. She's already bleeding on the couch as I come back from the kitchen with the biggest knife that we had. 9-inch chef's knife. Doesn't match any of the other knives we have. I wasn't consulted about that either. I tried telling her that we needed a full knife set if we were going to be living together. Cooking for 2 means more than microwaving TV dinners or throwing frozen pizza in the oven, my meal of choice, or making do with whatever half-assed tools she had to work with for her precious vegetarian lifestyle, let alone trying to cook for 3 with the baby on the way. I wouldn't have to worry about that for much longer. I knelt down next to the couch. Her eyes weren't even open. She couldn't even look at me. She couldn't even look me in the eyes one last fucking time. One simple, common fucking courtesy after being together almost a year, and I can't even get that. All she had to do was fucking tell me the truth. That's all. This whole fucking mess could have been avoided. We could have done something about it. We could have saved ourselves from all of this, but she couldn't fucking tell me the truth. She can't even form words when she cries like this. It's like she's regressed into some infantile mental state. She can't fucking say anything to defend herself. It's not the first time she couldn't defend herself. That's for goddamn sure. I can't believe it's come to this. All she had to do was fucking tell me the truth. I watched as her blood drips into the beige carpet of our living room, our fucking home. Bought and paid for last month. No mortgage, no more paying rent. We own this shit. And she just had to have the beige carpet. Fucking beige. I never wanted beige, but she insisted that it wouldn't show dirt as much as the burgundy that I wanted to go with. You know what doesn't show bloodstains? Fucking burgundy. I take the knife and I hold it over her throat. I feel my own breath catch in mine as I watch her chest struggle to rise with all the god-awful crying. I can't fucking believe it's come to this. If she would have just told me. All she had to do was fucking tell me. I've never done this before. I force all the strength that I can into the doing. I push down with the edge of the knife and drag it away as fast as I can. Crimson erupts from the cut. Probably hit both arteries. Her blood is everywhere. Her blood is everything. She's not crying anymore. She's not breathing anymore. She's not struggling to put her thoughts into words anymore. I drag myself to my feet. I turn away and go into the basement. We never did get around to having the construction crew redo the foundation. Dirt floor cellars were so inconvenient. I never wanted to deal with this. I guess it's a blessing in disguise now, though. I grabbed the garden shovel I stowed here last fall when we planted all of our precious rose bushes. I fucking hate rose bushes. I was pulling those thorns out of my hands for days. She just had to have them. I dig the blade of the shovel into the cellar floor. Dig a hole, shallow. No time to go 6 feet deep. Too risky to take the time to do this properly. 3 feet will have to do. I go upstairs, pick her up from the couch. Thank fuck she stopped spurting blood. I can only imagine how much more of that precious beige carpet would be ruined if she hadn't. I cradle her and carry her downstairs. I lay her in the shallow grave. Her belly is still swollen with her unborn child that I never wanted. That I'll never get to meet. What a fucking waste. Guess I won't be a father after all. She's fucking crying again. She's always crying now. I slump down against the door of the basement. I can hear her perfectly. I can always hear her perfectly. It's been almost 2 weeks now. 2 weeks since I slit the throat of my best friend, my lover, my wife, the mother of my unborn child. The one person in this world that I could count on to be there no matter how bad everything else got. I haven't gone more than 20 feet from this door since then. I can't. I walk away to get water. I walk away to get food that I force myself to eat. I walk away to take a shit. I haven't showered, haven't shaved, haven't slept for more than fleeting 30-minute power naps every few hours when I get so exhausted I can't keep my goddamn eyes open. Every time they close, I can only hear the sound of her fucking crying again. 10 months of our lives spent together. 10 months and 2 weeks of mine. 2 months ago was when the dead first started moving again, at least according to the global news. We thought we were safe here. We joked about this shit when we got together in the first place. Fuck. What's your zombie apocalypse survival plan was a question she put in her goddamn dating profile. That's why we bought this cabin out in the middle of nowhere. She got infected when we tried to get to her parents. It was the first time we visited them after I proposed. They thought it was way too soon, but we were in love and we were about to be parents. She was perfect. She knew so much about common sense decisions. She wanted to keep things practical. She didn't want to waste money on things like knife sets or on carpets that would need a lot of maintenance and specialized care. She was right about the beige Berber. She was right about everything. We fled out here after her parents' neighbors had broken down their door and killed her parents right in front of us. She had been through so much. We had to get out here. We had to get away from the city. But she never told me she had been bitten. Not until I saw the wound on her leg. The wound that wouldn't stop bleeding. I watched her deteriorate for days as the infection spread. I watched that vibrant, beautiful soul fade into a gibbering husk. I knew that she would turn before too long. I knew that our child would never be able to take her first breath. I knew I should have done more. I knew I should have dug a deeper hole. Maybe fully decapitating her. Maybe just driving the knife into her brain. I don't fucking know. I just know that I should have done something. If I would have, she wouldn't be fucking crying again. She wouldn't be fucking wailing on the other side of my goddamn basement door. It just doesn't end. It never fucking ends. Last time that I walked away from the door, I went to our gun cabinet. I idly turned the shotgun over in my hands, studying the barrel. Steel so blue that it's almost black. Stock of walnut. She never wanted me to buy this. She hated guns. But it was part of the survival plan. It was was just practical to have it. She might not have been so hesitant if I would have gone for the cheaper one. Great final thought, I guess. I never was great at saving money. I tucked the barrel under my chin as I felt her hand slamming against the other side of the door. As I pulled the trigger, I hoped that the slug would go straight through my brainstem and into hers so we could finally find peace together.
God damn, man. As usual, the intensity of your delivery is spectacular. I mean, you really you can fucking feel that shit whenever you really can. This piece is very like Edgar Allan Poe to me. I mean, I know it's like a zombie piece at heart, but the murderer's remorse angle to it, even though you put a very a somewhat different twist on it, and the body that won't shut up, there's powerful Black Cat / Telltale Heart energy here, and I enjoy that. That's what makes for a good piece of horror, right? Is that psychological understanding, that insight into psychological darkness as opposed to just physical gory ugliness. So that was good read, man.
Thank you.
You fucking killed it with the delivery.
Yeah, delivery was fucking.
You read it like a monologue, and it was great.
So, Jake, you're up next.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
I finally got to do it to you for once.
Yeah, man, that was great, dude. That was a great story.
Jake, do you have the video presentation artist to provide any accompanying visuals?
No. And again, I just wrote this today. I got kind of inspired because I was thinking about this group, and it's been a couple weeks since I've joined in, and I kind of missed everybody. It kind of puts a hole there in my week.
I literally said to them, I said, "Where's Jake?" Oh, they're like, "He's with children," or something.
Yeah.
They said that.
Well, last week I was just being an asshole. Last week I was just mad about stuff, but not at will or anything. But
wait, that's not ominous.
No. So I'm glad that this piece gets to follow yours, Brandon. I think it's almost like an accompaniment in a way. So it's titled "A Short Disassociative Episode Which Requires Suspension of the Traditional Narrative," or untitled. Here, let me do this so I can engage with the audience a little better. Over the hills where the sun snuggles down for a sleep is a cozy little kingdom with a king that's pretty neat. Now some kings are mean and some kings are small. Some kings are silly and some of them tall. Some kind of sing and some kings whistle. The king that lives far over the hills, do you know what he does? Well, he's the king that likes to wiggle. The Wiggle King woke up one morning, the sun was shining bright. He wiggled out of bed and said, "Oh no, my wiggle doesn't feel right." He tried to wiggle like he always did, but it just didn't work. His wiggle wasn't very smooth. His body just kind of jerked. He went down to the kitchen for a breakfast meal. He wasn't sure what to eat. Nothing sounded ideal. What are some breakfast foods that you like to eat? Do you like cereal, fruit, or maybe some kind of meat? Well, everyone, what are some breakfast cereals that you enjoy? Go ahead and unmute and join in.
Timbit cereal.
Timbits.
I like
Sugar Smacks.
Wow.
A banana and some cream of wheat.
Those all sound like great ideas. I wonder what the king will do. Let's keep on reading to see if he listens to me and you. From the magic mirror hanging on the wall, he saw your smiling faces and listened to your call. He heard you all say the things that you each like. He thought a while and decided what he'd like to have for a bite. He filled his plate with eggs and sausage and pancakes stacked up high. He watched the syrup wiggle down his yummy pancake pile. With breakfast done, his belly full, he walked to his throne. He sat and looked out at his kingdom, a happy wiggler's home. Moms and dads and kids and pets, a happily wiggling population. He thought about his wiggle feeling strange and tried to solve the situation. He stood up and stretched and bent down low, stretching his arms as far as they'd go. He shook his legs down to his feet, then bent over a little and wiggled his seat. The king had lots of favorite wiggles that he liked to do. Can you show me and the king your favorite wiggle too? Everybody show me your wiggles. Come on, everybody. Show me your favorite wiggles you like to do. That's right. All right. Good job, everybody. Those were terrific wiggles. You've all done such a great job. Maybe if we try real hard, the king's problem won't be hard to solve.
We're not, baby.
Now all together now, join in and count with me. Do your favorite wiggle when we get to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Great job, everyone. You're all super amazing. Your wiggles are simply fantastic. You definitely deserve praising. But on his throne, the king still sat, thinking maybe his wiggles needed a rest. He thought about all his wiggles and which one he liked the best. Sometimes he'd wiggle his toes all funny. Sometimes after eating food, he'd bounce and wiggle his full tummy. He'd wiggle his arms and wiggle his legs. He'd wiggle all around. On sunny days, he'd go outside and wiggle on the ground. He'd wiggle all day and wiggle all night. He'd wiggle around the clock. He'd simply wiggle all the time. He'd hardly ever stop. Suddenly through the air, the king felt a magic tingle. It was the magic wiggles of all you wonderful people. Your wiggles sailed through the magic mirror and all through his body. He jumped up from his throne and shouted, "I proclaim a wiggle party!" Then all the moms and dads and kids and pets all heard the proclamation. They wiggled fast and wiggled slow and wiggled with elation. They also wiggled happy and some with consternation. Do you think you can join in again and show me your best wiggle? Come on, everyone, jump right in. It's okay to giggle. Come on, everyone, show me your wiggles. Wiggle with the Wiggle King. Oh, great job, everybody. Great job. The king looked out at his kingdom with everyone wiggling their best. He saw you in his magic mirror and was actually quite impressed. He'd seen so many different wiggles that he started to understand there wasn't actually anything wrong with his wiggle in the end. He wiggled his legs and wiggled his hips as he wiggled back to the throne. He sat and smiled and decided his wiggles, they felt right at home. The end.
You're not going to shoot yourself now, are you, man? Oh my fucking God. I never fucking know what to expect. What I fucking love about that is, like, you have so thoroughly conditioned us to expect some kind of like perverse twist that the fact that it didn't come really was like that. The whole time I was thinking, well, where the fuck is this going?
No, I just wanted to kind of reflect the type of work that I've been spending a lot of time reading lately. I don't know if you guys have seen or read any of the Paw Patrol books, but they're pretty good. So I decided to just throw my own in the ring, you know?
Yeah.
You should turn that into a children's book.
No, I did. If there's anyone who's like up to be the illustrator, I'm definitely
I
gonna...
don't know any illustrators, but if you can find an illustrator, that would be a beautiful children's book. Absolutely.
I don't know.
I don't know any
It would look
illustrator.
right with black and white MS Paint art.
I would offer to, but that's all I do is black and white MS Paint art. Sorry, man.
Thank you, everyone, for your kind words and the participation.
Excellent.
I know it's a lot.
So
I
good.
love the sheer
Thank you,
degree
Jake.
of emotional whiplash that we get on these calls.
Right?
Oh my God. Thank you, Jake. So next up is Rudy with something completely fucking different. I'm sure.
Well, So in the spirit of lightheartedness, this is a lighthearted stadium country song that I wrote last night and into this morning about a guy who's in love with a girl, because that's what all country songs are about. For this, I'm going to need to share my screen because I need to share audio, so I'm going to do that. I'll do that.
Let me know if you have any trouble with the screen sharing. I haven't changed it. Nope, looks like you're good. Okay.
Down, 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 down. Daddy said I was born to Sweden. Barn, a floor, a field. Don't know much about airplanes. Can calculate a nuclear yield. Swept the Japs' trash off a ridge. For Truman sealed the deal. But all I ever wanted was the sweet, sweet Susan Beale off of her feet. Susie, I've got a vibe, yeah, we're expanding this human tribe, and you know we're just chimps in the professor's eyes. So tell me why we can't just be. It's an all-day grind, emptying cans, wiping tables off. Then at night, the clan to ignite this man. Black curls and tan, lips much thicker than girls with half your brains, driving me insane. All day in computer land, you're doing numbers for the man. I wished you were doing me. Simple math, girl, 1, 2, 3. Girl, I'm a Christian man. Good old boy with some loving hands. I know your books say E's and C, but square that right with the loving me. Yeah, Susie, I've got a vibe. Yeah, we're expanding this human tribe, and you know we're just chimps in the professor's eyes. So tell me why we can't just be a laboratory somewhere at Langley, just killing time. Your space and mine almost never meet. West versus east, I just wish I could get you in them white sheets. Heart skips a beat, shot down to earth, head twirling round, golden spiral down. Numbers on your board, them NASA figures scrawled. Forget the southern drawl. Oh, to hell with it all, girl, to hell with it all. Susie, I've got a vibe, yeah, we're expanding this human tribe, and you know we're just chimps in the professor's eyes. So tell me why we can't just be, girl, you and me, yeah, me and her, how it ought to be. One man, his girl, one life, 2 worlds. But it's career suicide, and Sue, oh, she don't believe in no afterlife. And my drive for expanding this human tribe is all fried, so I guess that after 5, I'll take a ride. Me and the boys yell rebel pride. Robbie Lee, Southern Air, quick hit me through the trees, hoods up 400 degrees. Yeah, we'll see. Blazes rise, place that she lives, way out of town in the ashes of her bed. Will be found nothing but some numbers now. Oh, you know that's my 7 digits. Wow, I didn't need to go and burn it down. Susie, I've got a vibe. Oh, for expanding this human tribe. And you know we're just chimps in the professor's eyes. So tell me why we can't just be.
So I've got to ask, right off the bat, whether you're influenced by early Liz Phair.
I mean, my influence were definitely more country oriented, but Liz Phair definitely. Which albums are you talking about?
the girly sound demos because she has
Oh, okay, yeah.
the song, you know, where it's like, every time I see your face,
Face
I get all
all wet
between
between
my
my legs.
every time I, you know,
Right, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, Flower, yeah. No, I definitely, that's good shit. Well, I was more into the stadium country new artists, some Luke Bryan, maybe some Jason Aldean, some I guess, but basically it's a story about a Klansman who falls in love with a woman who worked as a human computer at the Langley Research Facility, and jilted, he decides to go burn her house down because all country songs, you got to have that revenge element if it's a love song. So yeah.
And also, if I'm following, he's in the Klan.
Yes, he is.
Oh, man, that was so good. Did you? I'm pretty sure you did, but you recorded the like faux like music vocals separate from the like the lyrical vocals, right? And then combined them.
If you're talking about the mouth guitars, yeah, you're
Yeah,
correct.
thank you. The mouth guitars. Yeah, so you recorded the mouth guitar, and then you recorded the lyrics. So oh my god, holy shit, that was so amazing.
Thanks.
This is going up on the website, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
think it is. If peer pressure has any power, this is going up on the website. We should definitely put the audio file up and then put the lyrics up so that people can read along.
Nice.
Oh my god, that was spectacular. I think I'm every week I'm like, this is gonna be the week that they fucking kill me. And I don't know, I think this might be the week that I just fucking die laughing during this thing, but thank you, man.
No, Rudy, I love that you also knew exactly where I was going mentally with the Liz Phair thing once I started singing. Because, you know, it's similar, right?
Yeah, no, Liz Phair is awesome. I mean, I can't say that that wasn't an inspiration because everything in my head is an inspiration to whatever. So.
No, but I get it. That wasn't your intention. But the second I heard you go, and when I heard the backing track go, I was like, okay, this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get down with Liz Phair. It's definitely good shit.
It sucks because she was robbed. Like, that was her one, like, the girly sound stuff was so good. And then everything sucks because she was forced into some.
Yeah.
Anyways, not to take
Yeah,
away. You're now my new
Hi.
girly sound inspired artist.
That's a huge compliment.
So, thank you, Rudy.
You're saying it's not a covered benefit?
Oh, sorry, what was that?
I think Alexandrine might be on the phone. I just muted her because I'm not sure we're privy to that conversation. Anyway, up next it's open mic. We've already had a couple of people sign up for the open mic. I have Harris and I have Ryan. Sorry. I have Harris and I have Ryan signed up. If anyone else would like to read, you can just put it in the chat and Rudy and I will kind of try to follow along and keep track of who signed up. So Harris, are you with us? Oh, and I see Daniel.
Hey, man.
Hey.
Thanks for letting me crash this thing. I'm excited to read something. And, Jake, I just want to say I wish you were reading again instead. Because sometimes you don't know what you needed all along. And I think I needed to hear you read a children's story this whole time.
I'm glad that I could help you out, man.
Provide the medicine. It was great.
That was fucking cathartic, wasn't it?
I felt something. I was smiling. It was great. So this story, it's not published yet. It's coming out under a pseudonym. But I wrote it and I'll probably drop it online when it comes out, but
do you want me to still link you on, still tag you on Twitter since it's under a pseudonym, or do you want me to?
Yeah, no, I don't care.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't.
Why a pseudonym?
Because the way that they publish is just always under a pseudonym or anonymous.
Okay.
Because I think they're trying to preserve some sort of like artistic integrity, which I respect. You know, they just want you to interact with the work. I guess.
I love gimmicks.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. The publication's Sleeping Fish. But there's a picture that factors heavily into this story that is pretty twisted, and I'd kind of like to share with you weirdos, because I think you'd appreciate it, but I don't really know how to do it.
You should be able to screen share. Rudy, you were just screen sharing. Do you want to explain how that?
Oh, geez. Oh, no. Yeah. I'll just read the story and then try to figure it out later.
Or you can just put a link in the chat too, if you've got a link to the image.
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh,
but yeah, anyway, so sorry. The story is called The Clearing. It's from my novel that I just kind of finished up. It's just I think I read a story a while ago called The Anniversary that features the same characters. So this is occurring earlier than that other story that I read when they're maybe like 40 years old. I don't know. But anyway, it's called The Clearing. They hear the one from a few months prior, coming from the mossy clearing behind the house, like a young girl with precocious opera lungs being murdered over and over. A coyote, a lost fawn, the squall of a horny house cat. In bed, Heather scrolls through a catalog of online animals, trying to match her memory of the sound with that of her cell phone's tinny speaker. Not that, she says, not that either. A fisher cat shrieks from the phone, repeatedly. But while not unlike a woman being murdered, the shriek isn't a young girl either. Not exactly. But who knows what sound an animal might make in the throes of passion, she tells her husband, Vic. I wouldn't worry. I'm not. Now Vic excuses himself, mutters off down the hallway, his footsteps stopping where Heather hung the sofa art that morning, a snow-draped barn, to cover one of the many peepholes they discovered after the tenants left a few months prior. Before he continues to the kitchen again, the liquor cabinet he stripped that summer they created the chicken salad game. Remember the chicken salad game, Heather thinks? With the jingle of ice, Vic returns to lie atop the comforter, silent and sweating, his mouth partially pried and poised for what she worries will become talk of the tenants again. Something like, there's no way, Heather, we would have heard her drill, we would have known. But tonight, thankfully, no, Vic flips his reading lamp off and proceeds to knock the ice in his glass against his teeth in the dark. Next morning, Heather's back over in the empty half of their house, the side they sealed off a couple of years ago with heavy locks for the monthly rental payment, where the ex-tenants must have drilled these peepholes into the antique wallpaper, into these beautiful frenzied blossoms. Can you believe she had to fight Vic into not peeling off to spackle over the holes? We'll just hang artwork and photographs, she said. Heather picks up another piece, looks at it, this framed daguerreotype of a dour-faced wedding. See that hole over there? She taps a hanger in and hangs it. The strangers stare back at her with silver eyes, already sullen in their marriage. Then here they are again, in bed and listening to the bullfrogs and the peepers in the swamp, a summer wind pressing the warbled panes of glass into the bedroom's French windows, as ice knocks against Vic's teeth and his mouth poises to talk. This time he does. We would have sensed them. We would have felt their eyes. She's mouthing along in the dark. A package arrives the next morning. Vic stabs at his oatmeal while Junior sits quietly at the table and she opens the cardboard box. A motion sensor camera, night vision, and extended battery life, a small screen for instant playback. After he drives off for work, Heather carries the camera into the woods, to a clearing strung with beaded moss. She straps the camera to a diseased oak riddled with lumps. Carefully, she adjusts the shot. Back at the house, she spends the day hanging more sofa art, a thickly painted hunting lodge, an orchard strung with pink blobs, a flock of sailboats bending over a windy lake, over the few remaining peepholes, until dinner. Remember that game we used to play, she says, standing at the counter? Vic sits at the table, scoops a whole grain cracker through a deep bowl she'd made in hopes of jogging his memory. What game? Heather watches him chew, and he chews just like the deer she watches on the camera's playback the next morning, Crouched in the clearing, they parade across the frame at 10 times speed, with green glowing eyes and undeserved majesty. Mange with legs, her stepfather used to say. She deletes the deer, repositions the camera, curses. Every morning, out the back door, through the silvery grass and stinking dead leaves into the shadowy trees, the camera sits waiting. And she tries everything. Heaps of vegetables, birdseed, lunch meat, and Vic's dry oatmeal she buys for his health. But only deer come to this party. Her stepfather's tormentors, a part of her wishes she hadn't sold his stockpile of guns, or that he'd momentarily risen back to life to answer one question. Old and ugly man, how can I draw this mysterious out of the night? She's left the hardware store one day when she gets the idea, like he's whispered hot and soft in her ear, pulling up to a blood-matted raccoon carcass on the shoulder of the road. Its yawning mouth is dried up stiff with her stepfather's words, "Take me with you." So she shovels its body into the bed of the truck, drives home with the sick, sweet taste of the animal hovering in the cab. Then she lays the carcass in the clearing as per the instructions. But in the days to come, the reeking raccoon only sinks deeper into itself. Meanwhile, it's the same deer, the same incremental work, rehabilitating the side of the house, the same nightly rituals of her husband, followed by the same silences. "How long are you going to mope around like this?" she says finally. "For Christ's sake, forgive yourself. The heavier furniture in the basement needs to come up. The oak desk, the swivel chair. They needed an office to work. Okay," he says, staring at the ceiling fan that churned above their king-sized. "Tomorrow, I'll come home during lunch. We can make chicken salad." Heather rises early the next morning to watch the playback. The same collapsed raccoon, the deer parade, blah, 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 until another raccoon lumbers across the ghastly infragreen frame. Boy, is it big. It orbits the dead one, then leans in and hugs it. Seems to whisper sweet raccoon nothings into its ear. Just watching her make her ears tickle. The camera's playback is soundless, but before dismounting, you could see the mouth of the live raccoon form an upturned flute. No doubt an operatic sound. At the house, Heather looks up raccoon necrophilia sound. No dice. But there happens to be a few articles about the phenomenon. Apparently it isn't unusual among the species. Heather isn't surprised. Come to think of it, she's never been surprised, not once in her life. Not even when she discovered the peepholes, not even when she told Vic she was pregnant just a few months after reappearing into his life and he dropped to his knees to beg her to marry him. Not when a vein exploded in her stepfather's stomach and shot blood across the room from his large mouth. She plugs a USB drive into the computer, clicks to print, and the thick, sheeny photography paper rolls out like a slow tongue. She holds it up to the morning sunlight. Like a Harlequin novel, she thinks. Chicken salad again for lunch. Heather holds out the photograph. Check this out. And Vic stares at the raccoons for a long time, smiling in a way that tells her he doesn't understand the vacant gaze of the dead raccoon beneath. A plaque of crackers coats his sudden smile. "I love it," he says, before Heather can explain. He loves the photograph so much, in fact, he wants to hang it on the wall of their new office, right now. "I'll slip this into a frame then." Heather does like she says and wraps the chicken salad up in the refrigerator and follows him upstairs. She leans the newly framed photographs against the wall and tells him to take off his clothes and lay down naked on the floor, and he obliges. Then she strips down as well and then mounts him. Her body moves in the reflection of the glass, enclosing the photograph. The floor creaks steadily beneath her knees, then faster, until her husband begins to grunt like something sputtering back to life. Only then, in a sudden spasm, does Vic seem to remember the chicken salad game they used to play, how flavor was also about the appetite. She sees all this very clearly in his blue eyes. Then he helps her carry up the oak desk and swivel chair from the basement. He hangs the photograph on the wall where he can see it, the final peephole covered now. And he comes home from lunch regularly, starts spending his nights in there. And not too long after, it's like the previous tenants never happened. Vic comes when she calls, looks at her without looking past her now. Before bed, he runs his fingers through her hair like he used to, whispers sweetly. And when she can't, sometimes she comes in here, a glass of vodka. She sits in the chair and contemplates the moment when she saw what it was, over and over. The same realization, the moonlight over the mossy clearing, now blazing so perfectly upon the photograph's surprise. What's so easy to forget? Over and over across her brain, she does this, like a homey flavor on her tongue, one she can only place on the moment she stares into this other creature's eyes.
Oh my God, I love that. You have like an incredible talent for capturing this very particular type of mood that I can only describe as like poison domestic nostalgia, right? Like this like, because it's not strictly like, there are a lot of people who write kind of strictly about like domestic ugliness, but that's not what this is, because there's this like really beautiful nostalgic undercurrent running under the whole thing. And the stuff, the weird like mental parallel that occurs between like the death of her stepfather and finding the dead raccoon, like that's like really psychologically astute, because our brains make those kind of perverse, upsetting connections all the time. I don't know, just fantastic.
Oh man, thanks so much. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I love synthesizing different elements of the story and having them parallel each other. But the photograph is real, and I want to share it because it's super bizarre.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'll try to throw that in there. But yeah, it was taken in the woods behind my house.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was actually a wedding present that this photographer gave me.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Throw that shit in the chat.
Yeah, I'll try to figure it out.
Okay, cool.
I don't know my mind right now.
Yeah, thank you for reading, Harris. And Ryan is up next.
Hey, what's up? Sorry, is my mic working?
Yeah, your mic sounds good.
Yeah, you sound
Okay,
good.
okay, awesome. It's like really.
Oh, I think you just muted
I hit
yourself.
or something.
You keep muting and unmuting yourself. I'm not sure. Maybe it's tied to a key or something on your keyboard, or. Yep, mute, unmute.
It's a Toronto thing.
Let's see. Oh.
Oh, thank God. Sorry, I hit some button on my computer and it just like fritzed out.
Oh, gotcha.
And I had no idea what was going on. And I could hear
Okay.
you guys' voices and I was like panicking. I was like, oh my God, like they're talking about me, not. Okay, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you sound
it's
good
hard
now.
to,
You sound great.
It's hard to. I was trying to alt tab and I just hit the wrong button. But yeah, it's hard to like follow everyone. But this is from something I started reading in like 2020, and then it was just really long, so I stopped reading it. But I just kind of wanted to finish it off. So
Cool.
this is, I think. Oh yeah, sorry, I'll link it. My bad. Sorry. Yes.
Oh yeah, no problem, no
I'll
problem.
link
I
it.
think I
I'll
remember
throw the link
this
in.
piece, and I think it was a
Yeah.
good piece, but definitely I don't remember the link. So if you want to drop it in the chat, I can link
Yeah,
it.
sure. It's right here. There we go.
Ah, perfect, thank you.
Perfect. Everything's working. Oh my God, that was scary. But yeah, I just wanted to finish it. So I think this is part like either 4 or part 3 or something. So okay. Okay, here we go. The drone is leading her into the viewer field, past the lower power viewers. She keeps checking her arms as they swing beside her. The viewer bubbles bring blood to her cheeks when she looks at them. Am I looking through the high-powered televiewer, she asks. The ice moon is gone. It won't be back for a year. When you look at it, 1-1, do you think anything? 1-0. I wonder if it dreams, she says, wistful, her breath dropping. The question is fresh in her, the imprint in her brain still hot. I wonder if it's alive. Should wonder, 1-0, where it goes. She bites her tongue, snapping her back. Ow, isn't it in a weird orbit? There are no orbits, 0-0. There are just things that go away and come back. Then things don't come back. Then there are new things. New things stay or come back when they go, always. I've been watching. I always watch. Why I was built, what makes me happy. But I know, 1-0, how fragile. If too many things don't come back, if the new things are too different, things depend on each other and there can be nothing, 0-0. There has to be a freeze. Freeze has to be there on the or the quantum will kill. Never stop killing because death is possible. 0-1. It's not worth it, she says. Her hand is still there. It's too bad out there to be real. Pink on her skin, the glow spilling to the fake field under her. Sorry, just a sec. If you go to Celine, you can talk to her. Tell her it's the only way. I know, I see. I see always. 1-1. Her? The Ice Moon is a girl? Like me? Like, she thinks, your stolen voice? Celine is soft. She lets. They wrote that the female lets, so it is so. And the male takes, she says. But it doesn't feel like her talking. It's something in her that is scared. Scared and angry at the Overmind for scaring her. The Overmind wanted to space lock her. Just for being different. I can't fly, she says. And I can't breathe in space. I will take you. How? By not watching. By acting. I can act, but I have to stop watching first. It can't be that easy, she says. They are coming to the center of the field, past layered circles of televiewer bubbles. The closer they get to the center, the rosier the viewer glow is. They are blood red here. 0-1, 1-0. Not easy. Not like easy. To stop watching. Why am I here? These are just viewers. They won't take me anywhere. They've stopped before the center viewer. It's bigger than the others, and the red of its glow makes her heart beat faster. She wants to be in it, looking through it. But she knows if she did, she wouldn't see the Ice Moon. Cruel for her to be here, with nothing to see. The drone floats before her, near her heart. It starts vibrating. She feels something in her heart stretch against her skin. Try to leave. Goodbye. Can only act now. Must swell, like heart should swell. Like I know. Wrong to stop them. I've seen. 1-0. I will stop watching. I will stop being. Only acting. Only being something else now. And always nothing. And outside they're destroying me. The Overmind thinks it's hurting me. But it only hurts because it wants to hurt me. Because it thinks it is. And isn't stopping. Do you understand? She thinks she does. 1-0. 0-1. Ending start. There's a hum that she feels before she hears it. It's like the energy flow of the drones, but it shakes her every cell. It's not the cold of losing energy, or the heat of taking it. It's more like everything in her is being coated with sticky sap, seeping through, jostling her cells, sticking and unsticking, all of them, every one of billions. She checks her arm. It's flowing, rippling like tidal water. She's scared because this means she might not be real, and happy because if she isn't, there's nothing to be scared of. The televiewers are swelling. Light washes her skin pink as the closest bubble grows over her. It's noiseless as it takes her in, scraping at her, painless but nanometer close. And then her arm is a rose ocean, and skin unfurls from it like petals blooming. The hum is in the air now. From where she's standing, she stares forward, past the bubble she's in, and to bubbles past it. They're swelling, all of them, though hers is still the biggest. If something like this was with the Ice Moon, would it swallow her like it's swallowing me? Celine, Emily tells herself. She has a name. The bubbles are still growing. They're losing their shape as they swell, sporing out smaller bubbles on the surface. She looks at the voice of the observatory. The whole field is rose now. The ground bubblegum pink, and the wall is blood red. She stares at her fingernails. They look ripped out, like the fissures are pumping out blood, pooling in the craters. She thinks about torn cartilage. It's not real, she tells herself. None of it matters. But even as her brain cells start rubbing against each other, the sap seeping between the spaces, even her rose-lit thoughts tell her different. I started with the quantum televiewers already, and the Overmind, and that was real. That was my life, and I had to use them to see better things. The overspores are reaching each other. As they mass, the first layer of viewers joins together, and their spores reach for the spores growing from her big bubble. She sees those spores concave from behind the inner rose glow, and wants to reach into them, like gloves, but they are so far away. And past them she can't see viewers beyond the first circle, not even outlines. The whole field is almost a full single mass. Then the bubbles vanish, and she can only see rose light washed over everything, the color of sun-faded petals. I wanted, 0-1, wanted to make this field more. Holographic grass, pure light. The walls swimming oceans. Never had energy. Celine is too important. 1-1. 1-1, 1-1. Celine, my queen forever. All rose as her body breaks into fragments, shards, and slivers. She has to tell herself she isn't blood. This isn't life in her blood exploding away. If this is her blood, can she see bone? White light? If this is her blood, she will never find herself again. Now just white, then hard edges scraping in. Jagged spires lancing to spear her through. No, she's just seeing them sudden through the light. There's still the inner spires of the corium hollow. She's not alone. There are men with her. Harsh pheromones score her nostrils and she gags. She's surrounded with the thickness of nacreous cloud. She sees them cast demonic, warped within from exposure to the corium. They're looking at her full-eyed, mouths yawned open in black caves. Her teeth are jagged, razor-pointed, and glint moss-green in the light bleeding in from the spiderweb fissures. Their eyes are the milk white of emptiness. They all have shaven heads and wild beards. This is the way of the miners, their brotherhood in flux. She checks her arm. It seems solid as theirs, and they look very solid. Seeing her arms flits words to her lips. How do you talk to Celine? She says. The miners stand mute. She has a full circle of metered space around her. One steps into it now, spitting. His arms are crisscrossed with tattoos while the others are all bare. If this moon is a bitch, she's frigid, he says. We've been digging her out for 2 decades, never felt anything real. Emily falters, remembers her surety. It hasn't been long. It's a she. She's alive. You don't talk to her, you live in her. You live in a home, the tattooed miner says. There are murmurs of agreement behind him. This isn't our home. Earth is home, and it's where we'll go once we've dug this rock out. They won't let you go home. Emily's sure of this. They'll just space you. They space everyone. All the Overmind space. I know. The man starts to shake. Slow, alone at first, but it spreads. As it spreads, the miners pick the pace up, and he shakes faster too. Soon they're all laughing, bent violent, limbs clutching themselves, each other, empty space. No one's going to space us, because we're going to break what's skinned over. Then we'll see which gods claim us. She remembers what Celine looked like from Frigga, through the viewer. Still not long ago, her glacierized surface and her pockets of shadow. Celine, frozen perfect, the radiant frost trails of common impact. That's wrong, she says. That hurts. You're making it worse. Her teeth grit, her words glass sand. Give us something else, the miner says. His eyes reflect the bled light from the cobweb sky above. She's there for you. Emily puts flash into her eyes, pure space, trying to shine out everything. Ask her how she feels. How she feels, the miner says? Moon? We're out here waiting to die. His eyes fog dark. Waiting to live. She moves quick, striking him with the arm she's sure is real. Her nails line his cheek as he pulls away. She feels them slit into skin, pull out soft, feels the gossamer film of air under them as they leave. He touches his cheek. The other miners are silent, the shadows from the spires falling over them as one, hewing them together in one black mass. Nothing, she says. Your pain is nothing when you hurt her. Not her voice now, but Celine's. Celine's words spit through her teeth. The miners whisper to each other in their shadow, shoulders rising sharp and breaking soft. The tattooed miner before her nods, face ashen. Just stop, she says. Just let go. His eyes close. His eyelashes curled to frayed and burnt ends. The spires lanced to them are dissolving into the black mass of the miners. Her arm lattices, fragmenting into the moving shadows. The corium at her feet climbs her legs, encases her knees, melting her into everything. The miner's eyes widen, and she faces him fast, knowing he'll see himself in her eyes. She stares him full, knowing what's happening behind him, not daring to look past. But his brothers have pulled back, their eyes bright white against the shadows, now murking over everything in heavy gloom. Behind the tattooed miner, cutting him off from his brothers, the corium gods are rising, blades shining, splitting the slivers of light left. They have always been the quantum, always the corium. Their blades overhang, arms jade crescents dissolving with everything, rainbows stretching the green into the murk, joining the gloop. Always corium, with blades held high. The tattooed miner's face is frozen in what she saw in her eyes. She thinks it's a smile, unsure because how can you ever be sure of a smile? She hopes it is, hopes he's smiling at what he's taking with him. Always and forever, and nothing again. And the blades drop, find their home, and the man's eyes swim and vanish into the nothing that is lifting. Them, all of them, and her. And God, Celine, you spoke through me for the kill, and how can that be okay? And 1-0, 1-0, 0-0. Deep in the halls of Frigga, the Overmind dreams of green grass fields under a twilight indigo sky. In its dream it is alone. Okay, that was it. I just wanted to finish that reading.
Wow, thank you. No,
Thank you.
I've said this before, but I fucking love your world building. It's so rich, and it's so like completely integrated into the stories you tell, right? You don't. There are a lot of like kind of genre writers where they'll be like, okay, this is plot exposition, this is world building, plot exposition, world building. For you, everything is like so perfect and seamless, and like reality just kind of unravels while you listen and while you read. It's really great. And I love the way like you explore the reality or the like logic of like AI and and like how that like you can almost grasp it, right? But on some level it's like completely inscrutable and you just can't quite get access to that understanding. And it's really great. Is this, would you consider this like Slipstream? Is that like the genre?
I don't know what I actually don't know what slipstream is, but it's just funny that you're talking about genre, just because like genre is what I want to be. Like it's what I like. It's kind of like who I am. Like it's not like you know it's
Right.
genre is what I'm aiming for. I don't want to like write like about the shit that I guess it doesn't happen every day anymore because we're all quarantined. But I didn't want to write about. I never want to write about the shit that happens like every day to everyone. I always wanted to do. But yeah, Slipstream is interesting. I don't know anything about it, so
Yeah, you might want to
that's
look into it because it seems like I haven't read a huge amount of Slipstream, but it feels like from what I've read of the genre that this would probably fit in there. I think it's basically like science fiction that's about like deconstructing reality, right? Where you,
yeah,
as you go, kind of the reality of the world starts to disintegrate and your understanding of the world kind of starts to disintegrate.
yeah. Well, thank you. I don't want to say too much, but thank you for
Oh,
your
thank
really
you,
nice
Ryan.
words and yeah, that was chill treat. So thank you.
No, thank you. um, I I see people are calling me dad in the chat, and I don't want to know why. But I think Daniel.
William, it's because
Are
I
you?
mentioned that the only person I know who says Slipstream is my dad.
Okay.
Gotta be
He's always
careful. He might
calling
get
my
Twitch
rating
flashbacks.
Slipstream.
Yeah. I mean, we published your dad, so that must
Yeah,
be
I was gonna say you. I said you did publish my dad, so you know.
right. Right.
Now, I think
Uh,
Unity was up also. They said
okay.
the mic. I think there was some mic issues or something, but they said they wanted to read.
Gotcha. So we have Daniel, we have Unity, and I just got a message from John. Um, so we can probably go in that order, actually.
I think Joshua wanted to read as well.
Oh, Joshua. Okay. So we have Daniel, Unity, Joshua, and John. Okay.
Oh,
And
Dawson.
Dawson. Damn, full house tonight. Okay. If I forget any of you, just please interrupt and let me know. But Daniel is up next. Oh, Daniel. Ah.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to read some poems that I actually translated from this really weird Argentine poet who wrote this book called La Mafia del Hidrógeno, which is the Hydrogen Mafia, the Hydrogen Mafia, and it's like a speculative sci-fi book of lyrical poetry that's based on like there's these microcosmic beings that create the Big Bang to use like the atomic mass for energy from like the people on the earth as organic energy. So
And this is your
really,
translation?
yeah, I translated this book. So
oh, awesome.
this is
Awesome.
like a few poems from it. It's really cool. The guy's like an anonymous author though, so.
Gotcha. I think this is the one of the first times we've had someone read like a translation that they did in here. So, hey, take it away.
Yeah. All right. Last night, thirsty for tap water, I went down to the kitchen and turned on the light. Great was my surprise to see a cockroach ruminating among the crumbs. It was her peace that astonished me. I approached, intending to scare her, but she didn't even notice. I got even closer until I could see her frenzied eyes and whispered, "Maybe it's time to go. The light is shining on your shell, and the thick den you love is still far away." Ah, but the little bastard, without the slightest qualm, did a slight turn and kept chewing the juicy slime of dust and bread, ignoring the implicit laws between arthropods and mammals, the old salt standard, because we once shared the sea. I remember kicking her. I remember my foot and the impact. I remember the juice staining my shoe. I remember sitting down and thinking, what is this war between brothers if we once shared the sea? Okay. The old aquarium of Mars lies in a desert of snow now, its crispy windows burnt by the solar wind fall to pieces at the slightest touch. Once my neocortex resonated with the gentle cephalopods who sang in their cells of fiberglass. But the song of Earth isn't for human ears because it was written a long time ago on the bottom of the sea. My hand trembles. I still often sigh for the deep, dark, and vegetated kingdom of the mollusks and reptiles. I'm waiting for the end of the world more and more. In the morning, the first thing I do is walk to the window to look at the sky and make sure that its color hasn't changed. Then go over maneuvers for the apocalypse. 1, guns, machine guns, grenades and knives. This is important. You have to hurry before the other survivors rise up. 2, a truck, big, and if it's armored, even better. 3, canned food, seeds and water, a lot of everything. 4, books, manuals of every kind, especially medicine and agriculture. 5, a generator and a water tank and flares. 6, flee the city before the bodies begin to rot. It's crucial not to panic. You have to stay calm, especially if there are monsters. If they're aliens, it's more fucked up. In the case of the plague, well, put the chips on natural immunity. And if they're nuclear bombs or world anarchy or zombies or invisible bees, cross your fingers, close your eyes, and stick to the plan. Tonight, while the stars still shine, I'm going to sit on the terrace and pray to the dinosaurs for a benevolent cataclysm. Having done everything possible in military terms, Earth sought alternative routes so that their gods could have a couple more million years of partying. The centroids approached with firmly treasured promissory notes between tweezers and magnetic fields. They've come to collect, and the eternal saliva swirled inside of their gallbladder banks. Ah, old friend of the emptiness, where's the explanation of all the words? The planet sickened by the organic plague decided to appeal to the immeasurable resources of the sweet mafia. And that's how the nest got rid of the eggs. All right, one more. The escape had proved fruitless. After only 1 million kilometers, the message came. Captain Jorge Macpelok, this is prelate A92 of the Tax Collection Division AY Great Delta. Your default status authorizes me to neutralize the potential spread of your genetic code. Please don't try to evade this sentence again. The captain dropped the verbal communicator and watched it float across the bridge. It had been really stupid to try to evade atomic tax control. He had never considered seriously dying the true death, but that's the way it was. He closed his eyes and remembered those physio years of service in the nucleus. when he met the Transformer, the Messiah of robots. He remembered his words and savored them in his mouth, while his molecules were dispersed one by one. The return to the grand attractor. That's it.
Well, that was beautiful. I love the idea of taking these genre tropes and like transforming them into poetry. And there were so many good lines. I love the idea of praying to the dinosaurs for extinction. You know, the just so many. And the description of Mars in the second poem was like so otherworldly and haunting. And I just love like that combining of like the beauty of poetry and the kind of urgency of genre
Yeah.
fiction, right? It's
It's
awesome.
Yeah, this shit's awesome. This guy's, I have no idea who he is. The publisher, you know, that I got in touch with, you know, because I'm translating these and trying to, you know, submit them to magazines and stuff, was like, supposedly the publisher doesn't know who he is. I don't believe that, but yeah, no one knows who he is.
That's
I guess.
great.
He's just a random guy. So
What was the original language again? I didn't get it.
Spanish. It was in Spanish. Mhm,
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some writer in Buenos Aires or something. So, and that book is in its third printing. It's cool. People like it.
I have
Great.
my dear friend is he's a science fiction speculative poet, and he's dealing with a lot of like translations from Argentina and stuff. I should
It's
send
cool.
you a link. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'll drop my email in the chat or something. We can.
Cool.
Yeah, send me an email.
Cool.
Anyway.
Rudy, I've already forgotten. Unity is next, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Unity, are you with us?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Is there a delay in my audio?
There's
I think there's a delay in my audio, but
Yeah, there's a little bit of your video is kind of running behind your audio or vice versa, but it's not too bad. I can hear you clearly.
Yeah.
okay. As long as you can hear me, I'll just begin.
Cool.
This is part of a longer thing, the beginning of which is going to be appearing on Misery Tourism soon. So
Yeah,
thank you very
represent.
much for that. This is called The Mask. Child cannibals, eh? Kareem says. So then what happened? Bemused, but never incredulous, he guides me gently onwards, coaxing out the sickest specifics of my exquisite, corrupt chronicle. The catalog of miseries, despairs, and dreadful delights that twisted together form the pure substance of my being, my essence, the eye of my hurricane, the crooked, broken spine of my wretched tome, the cruel, majestic force of nature that is me. I'm so fucking high. In the stall of the sports bar bathroom, I curl the charger cable round my sleeve, flex and slap the forearm's skin till pop, pop, pop that vein. It's sweet blood. My precious liquid prolapse extrudes, erupting up the needle's point, its bloody chamber brimming with my rhodochrosite brew, the DNA of my father's father, my eternal ancestral admixture mingling with the needle's perfect poison. Even before I depress the plunger, I gasp, concentric circles radiating outwards from my everything. I feel the hum of the God vibration skull fuck my ear hole, crunching down each vertebra from the thymus along the scapula, down the bones of my body's arms and up its legs, twisting down and up the spine to the sacrum and back, from the chunks of gloss-encrusted skin flaking and falling from my lips like late October leaves fall from trees on down to the curled and quivering tarsals, the thin strip of rare, bloody meat in the tips of my toes. My pupils bulge and expand to the size of the universe, great sucking whirlpools that attract and absorb all things in my orbit. Whole dimensions curling inwards at their edges and collapsing, universes dissolving, becoming part of my essence. I am one with this unity. I feel my everything expand and contract like the soft, spongy lining of Satan's lung, pussy pink like the inside surface of some perfect, long forgotten, sleeping tentaculoid, a scarlet, serrated hagfish, a cannibal crow with crystal plumage, a pet cemetery cat with 1,000 eyes buried in black fur. I am flayed by its teeth, boa constricted by its infinite suction cup arms, my flesh turned outside in till the bones within wither and crack in the scorched desert of a long dead earth. Something else is in here with me. I feel it every time I slam. It shares my body. It looks out through my eyes. It laps up my soul with its many-toothed tongue. It melts down my brain stem and steeps my spirit in the juices. Something soft and forever and wicked like me. It fills me up. It holds me in its loving arms and sucks the life through every orifice. I've never been so in love in all my life. That's it.
Holy shit. Oh my God, the language in that was so incredibly vivid. And I love the first line about the cannibals with the like, and then what happened? Oh my God, like that's a fucking killer first line. That was an incredible first line. And the whole thing was like beautiful and ugly and magical in the best possible way. I loved it.
Thank you. I think it might be a slam poem.
Yeah.
As I was reading it, I realized.
Best kind of slam poetry. I'm usually not a fan of slam poetry, but I'll make a definite exception for this one. The chat loved it too, I can tell. Yeah, thank you so much
Thanks,
for reading.
guys.
And I'm really looking forward to getting to publish the piece in Misery Tourism later this month. So, yeah.
I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic piece, and I'm looking forward to everyone else getting the chance to see it in a week or two. So Rudy, I've completely forgotten who's up next.
I believe you, Joshua. I think.
Joshua. Okay, Joshua, and then John, and then Dawson.
That sounds right.
Okay, Joshua.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, loud and
Okay.
clear.
This is Outcall. The envelope had been on the bedside table, correctly thickened by its contents. She sat on a hotel chair, just out of reach. The chair was filling a blank space opened by a hotel's lack of the accommodations, the appropriations of space that would be there if the life in this room wasn't fundamentally daily. He sat on the bed and talked. Do you know the difference between accuracy and precision? The guy said. Other than the different words. She was mute, as she knew he wanted her to be. There was a briefness in the pauses after he spoke. They were a courtesy, not an invitation. Accuracy is hitting the bullseye on the dartboard. Precision is hitting the green as many times as you like. Oh, she said. The guy was wearing Converse high tops. The Converse assumed from a recent temporary youth group leadership. The white rubber and the white laces were still clean. The Converse, the black striking against the clean, stood out in the blended neuter colors of a hotel room. She kept glancing. What you should understand about Christ, he said, what I understand about Christ. People think of the church as a bullseye-hitting institution. He raised his hand in the space between them, and made a gun. Bang, the Lord. Okay, she said. Really, a training program. Everyone thinks they're rules, but they're practices. They give you precision closer to God's eyes, the great I am. Sure, she said. It's really about what passive understanding. She waited for him. The dartboard's a bad metaphor. There's only one man who wrote Gospels. He smiled at himself, and she smiled. You don't score willy-nilly. It's more at the country fair, one of those machines where you sledgehammer a seesaw, try to make the bell ring. You get closer on the strength of your heart. He closed his mouth and opened it again. Another way is to think of it, he spread his hands like a hotel room. You sit with the Gideon and you wait for the knock. He paused for a long time. She was unsure this time whether or not he wanted her to talk or if he was being that guy. She didn't really care. She openly studied his face. That face was finely featured and plain. A thin nose, small lips sort of smudged into his face. His brown hair was brushed back with a lightweight product. He could have been 40 or 30. His hair was good, heavy looking, healthy. Everything else was vague and faded away quickly, like the burn after a shot. You ready? He said. I will put you in the room. You ready to answer the knock? She opened her mouth. Her small, white, and regular teeth showed, and a gap between them opened with the tip of her tongue in it, peeking. So, who do you want me to pretend to be? She said. She was starting to feel she understood. She arranged a toothy smile and closed her lips to cut it off sudden, like she was snapping the neck of a chicken. He looked away. I sensed something, he said, not answering. A friend told me once that if you aren't humble, don't worry, you will be. Now I'm a quiet man. He smiled. His lips were closed, his eyes starting to squint. That's true, he said. He looked up into a corner of the room. He used only part of his voice. I thought I could be inspiring, he said. She became aware of how he was slouched, all shoulder blades, but the small of his back still stiff. The guy picked up his canned drink from the bedside table and sipped. She waited. He pulled off his shoes. She got up. She looked at his waist. Okay. She took a step forward. She brushed the straps of her dress off her shoulders. She joined her arms behind her back to undo the hooking of her bra. One hand behind her ribs, one over the shoulder, a stretch they taught you in gym class. He looked back at her in a way she recognized. His eyes in the usual places, his lips moved, tensed. He got up and went to the bathroom. He looked at her again. Okay, she said. Just wait a second, she said. He went in and turned on the bath. She looked at a lamp. It had a sphere-shaped ceramic base, dark blue, with an off-white conical shade. She looked at the bed. The sheets and blankets still tight. A triangle folded to expose the undersheet white. The sound of the bath in the tub was pleasant. She looked at the walls, a milky coffee color with swirly brushed texturing. There was a hotel paint, a borzoi dog on a blanket and a wicker bed, a lemon and a branch with leaves. A Dutch realist reproduction. The colors Dutch colors, under the thick varnish, like colors in the dark. But it was a print, flat. Not even like the almost living brushing you'd see in a museum. She listened all the while to the sound of the bath filling, waiting for the metal chuckle of a belt unbuckled. The tap turned off, so she went into the bathroom. She smelled water. He was sitting on the toilet. She looked at him. He was still in a t-shirt and his khakis. The way he sat folded him again. The light in the bathroom was clearer, brighter, less generous. The male pattern fat on his stomach and his sides bunched into the cloth and pressed out. She guessed at his weight, 200 pounds or 190. He looked into the water. This is usually done in a pool or a river. If you could get down on your knees or sit cross-legged, I will place my hand on the back of your head. He closed his mouth. He opened it again. You may be alarmed. Okay, she said. She went up to him. She could smell the gin coating the inside of his mouth. It was as if he had been chewing pine needles. He smiled. He didn't do anything. She got into the bath. It was very hot. He put his fingers on the back of her head. He pushed her face down into the hot water. Her hair floated around, gold. Her shoulder blades protruded. Her back was thin until it reached the hips. He looked away from them, at her hair. She shifted her head. Her hair floated in the greenish blue. How fine it was became apparent to him as he saw it gathered and spreading on the surface of the water. He felt her scalp on his fingertips. Her skull felt smaller than it looked. He prayed. After, she sat up. Her hair stuck to her face and neck and collar. She was pink from the hot water. She sighed. Thanks.
Oh, wow, that was spectacular. I love like how you handle conversation, not just the dialogue, but the like descriptions between the dialogue, you know, like I love that phrase like early in the piece where you talk about like his pauses being a courtesy, not an invitation. You like understand this instinctively, right? Like what's meant by that. And you really like beautifully capture the like social awkwardness of conversation, or the sense of being in a conversation you don't necessarily want to be in and letting your mind drift and seeing some other thing or fixating on some other thing. It's really like just got a wonderful, like beautiful kind of rhythmic quality to it. And then when it does get actually kind of rather dark at the end there, like it's so surprising because like the build up to that feels so gentle, even as there's like all of this sort of ugliness simmering under the surface. I thought that was a beautiful piece. Thank you. So at this point, I actually need to take a quick break here because I have to run to the bathroom. So let's just take a quick 5-minute break. And then next up is, let's see, John, who am I forgetting? John, I know Ali Fib, if that's the name, sent me a message saying they would like to read. And I think I'm forgetting, who am I forgetting, Rudy? I'm forgetting someone. Dawson. John Dawson, Ali Fib. Okay, so, okay, see you, Ryan. So we're just going to take a quick break, and then those 3 people will read. If anyone else wants to read, if you can just put it, say so in the chat, or let Rudy know while I'm gone, and we'll pick this up in just a couple minutes. Sorry.
I would like to motion for a moment of silence for those of us who decided not to attend this call.
For real.
So I guess we're all just gonna be silent until he comes back.
I see now's the time when everybody should commit all the crimes they can on screen while William can't see, so that it's a surprise for him later when this gets brought up in court.
Why is everybody here this week anyway? Not that I'm complaining.
It's
It's
because
hot.
it's the Lunar New Year.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Lunar New Year. Yeah.
I remember because my prof was salty. She had to do the call today, do her lecture. It's probably the middle of the night there for her too, because she's literally like teaching from China.
Yeah, man.
This Sunday is also Transfiguration Sunday, which is when we celebrate the moment in the Bible where Jesus is transfigured and rises up. His clothes become dazzling white.
Oh, I haven't been keeping track this year. That's right.
Haven't been keeping track of Jesus, eh?
I'd rather celebrate that than Valentine's Day.
Big move.
I signed up for this thing that you're supposed to put, like, you do a quiz, and it puts it into this really advanced matchmaking AI, and it pairs you with someone. And I did it like 2 weeks ago.
Oh my god, that sounds
Oh
so
God.
Holy shit.
Black Mirror shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's some Black Mirror shit, but I mean,
We want.
it's a matchmaking
Your
service.
fucking
I want a
government
full
assigned
report
romantic
next Friday.
partner from the Overmind.
No, literally, it's supposed to like be, I don't know. It's just like it asks you a lot of questions. Like, you know what was interesting? It asks you, are you straight or gay? But also separately, it asks you, what do you want your partner to be? So you could be like, I'm straight, but I only want to fuck dudes. Like, I don't know. I just hope somebody breaks it.
We all know a guy like that. At least I do. I know several.
Sometimes that can be straight. Yeah. I guess there are people that would. Yeah. Okay. I guess they thought of everything.
I used to date this guy who.
Oh,
I
you
used
cut
to
out
date
there.
a guy who was mostly straight, but he said my ex-boyfriend was mostly straight, but he said he didn't like the hassle over pussy.
Progress is always progressing.
So bad, right?
Okay.
Or not.
On that note, who was? I've already forgotten. John, you're up next.
Okay, I'm gonna post a link. Should work. Yeah, this is a section of a longer piece. Shit, 1 second. Okay. Johnny Baby lies to everybody in Los Angeles County Jail. Goons, bloods, cuzzos, honeys, angels, bitch asses, body snatchers, peckerwoods, and palm tree thieves. Cell to cell for hours, days, through transfers and bureaucratic tedium, Johnny rewrites the story of his arrest. The lie gets sharp as a shiv, a narrative to stick in prisoners who want to make Johnny a punk. Outside, Johnny calls himself a punk. In here, he doesn't want to be one. Johnny Baby sits scheming, not speaking unless spoken to, on a bench between a guy who was supposed to be an NBA shooting guard but shot someone, and a guy who is totally and completely innocent. Johnny is surprised so many of the men in county jail are definitely not guilty. Say, wasn't me. But guilt is a feeling as much as a verdict. Poets like Goethe and Johnny Baby know two souls dwell in the human breast, the self and what is inside, repressed. The shooting guard asks, everybody asks, why Johnny was arrested. The lie is ready. The best lies are truth. The truth is, Johnny Baby really does want to defund the police, economic equality, and no prisons. But a lie is also very different from the truth. Johnny Baby no longer tells the truth, the stupid, totally out of touch truth about why he was arrested, his hippie girlfriend. Subsequently, his cellmates no longer laugh and call him dumb fuck, dumbass white boy, and puta. Little white ass, the shooting guard says loud enough for the whole cell, protesting for Black lives. The white ass is Johnny. He wasn't exactly protesting for Black lives, but even so, little white ass protesting for Black lives. Someone else says respect, which means Johnny has it. Johnny hopes respect will insulate him from the violence in county. Violence is like the cold air pumped into the cell. It keeps everything alive. Someone coughs. Someone else says, motherfucker, shut your mouth, I ain't tell you again. There's a super bug, but no masks. Bullshit, someone says. Death sentence, someone says. Business as usual, someone says. Days ago, Johnny Baby was in city jail with his fellow protesters. Johnny showed tongue in his mugshots. Johnny refused to give his name, so was booked as John Doe 13. Cool. Johnny and the protesters kumad through the night, and then in the morning vinyasa to greet the sun. Johnny couldn't wait to tell his hippie ex-girlfriend about his hard time as a political prisoner. Johnny not only said solidarity, he felt it. Then he felt alone as one by one the other protesters were set free or sent somewhere Johnny couldn't go. Into Johnny's solitude entered the sheriffs who transferred him to from city to county. Shoes off, the sheriffs say, and search for the largest and smallest among the men. Dance, the sheriffs say, and the squat Guatemalan does while wearing the enormous Nikes of the shooting guard. La cucaracha, the sheriffs whistle. Johnny Baby and the men laugh when the sheriffs say strip. Oh, stop laughing when the sheriffs say strip. Not laughing when the sheriffs shine a flashlight where the sun doesn't. Johnny coughs on command to see if contraband comes out. The sheriffs say the guy who is totally and completely innocent was arrested with his girlfriend dead in the trunk, except she wasn't actually dead, only the baby was. To Johnny Baby, it sounds like the sheriffs expect something will be done about it in the showers. If the season was spring instead of summer, Johnny would be in juvie with boys under the warming jets, washing with delousing shampoo. Johnny tries not to look like he's looking in the showers. I know you, a man says. Johnny Baby wonders whether he needs to make a power move for clout. Pick a fight with someone big, but not two. Johnny had fights. He just isn't any good at them. He pretends to be a pacifist around his peace punk friends, but watches big fights with his father, who pays for pay-per-view violence. Only lately, Johnny and his father, The chicken hawk capitalist cowboys don't cry, conservatives do the fighting. Johnny blames his father for almost everything, except abandoning Johnny's mother. Johnny would do that too if he could. Dripping wet from the shower, Johnny has issued slip-on shoes, boxer shorts, and a sloppy suit of jail blues. The blue bottoms are baggy like Johnny's mother likes to wear, even on her rare outings outside the apartment. You look like shit, Johnny says, and refuses to drive her to the pharmacy to pick up her prescriptions. Does he feel guilty for making his mother cry? Yes, of course, but he's ashamed of her and feels she should be ashamed too. Some of the prisoners wear yellow bottoms. You don't want to be seen talking to yellow bottoms, Johnny learns after he does. The reason returns Johnny to his mother, her rationale rooted in childhood for wearing bottoms sexlessly. But it's not safe to think of his mother here, unsafe to be a boy among men in yellow bottoms. He wishes he could phone her and say, "Mommy, I'm sorry." If the sheriffs ask again, this time will be different, and he will definitely say, "Yes, I do want to make a phone call." I'm gonna stop there, but it's kind of a work in progress.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, I love the rhythm of this piece. And just like the piece you read a couple of weeks ago, God, is time passing that quickly. A couple of weeks ago, like there is so much said with so little in this piece. Like you have like an unbelievable like efficiency in your use of language, and there's so much feeling packed into each of these short sentences. And the whole piece is just this wonderful like sing-songy cadence to it that really like contrasts kind of beautifully with like the graphic ugliness of the subject matter. I don't know, it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think I interrupted Rudy, and I'm sorry. Rudy, were you going to say something?
No, well, I was actually just gonna mention what you mentioned, the lyricalness, I guess, of it. I really like how the language flows together, and again, contrast with the, like you said, the ugliness of the subject. I guess it's really, like, I mean, it's at the same time like really pointed, but also very beautiful. The way you put a lot of the things very concise.
Thanks.
To it. It's cool.
Yeah, it's like filtered through time. I started writing about getting arrested like 20 years ago, but at protests, and then like through protesters, recently in Black Lives and stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's awesome.
Question, and you can feel free not to answer this if you don't want to, but is this piece and the piece you read a few weeks ago, you said this one was part of a longer work. Was that one part of the same longer work? Is this,
No,
they feel very, they have a very similar kind of approach, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm just playing with like voice lately. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, thank you so much for reading.
Thanks.
Dawson, it's all you, buddy. Are you still with us, Dawson?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hey.
All right, I'm going to keep it short tonight, but this is the beginning of something called Slippery People.
Oh, did you post an excerpt from this on Twitter?
Yeah, that's not the part I'm reading, though.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
All right. So Marshall ran a comb through his mullet and came away with a tangled handful of dyed black hair. Another pass, another handful. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus. He studied himself in the vanity mirror, saw how the Los Angeles sun had tanned his hide, saw where too much worrying about dead horrors had wrinkled his forehead, saw finally where his hair was thinning down to his skull. Marshall shot an open hand into the wall so fucking hard it sent a cloud of drywall dust airborne. Fucking goddamn doctors, he said, rifling through the sub-sink cabinet looking for his beard trimmer. Fucking goddamn chemo. He found it. It was a stainless steel number and it buzzed like a metallic wasp when he flipped it on. Marshall took one last look in the mirror. Fuck it. He ran the beard trimmer through his mullet, taking an inch-wide strip out of the middle. Marshall's pale scalp shined bright under the bathroom lights. He shuddered, made another pass. and another. And then the blades got fouled up in his hair. Ah, fucking Christ, he whimpered. Marshall yanked the trimmer hard, freeing it, a greasy lock of hair, and a chunk of his scalp in the process. Motherfuck! Marshall threw the trimmer down and grabbed a stippling pencil off the counter. He dabbed at the dime-shaped wound until the bleeding stopped. It looked like somebody had tried to scalp him and given up before the deed was done. Marshall checked his watch, a counterfeit Rolex, part of his unofficial LAPD severance. It was going on 7 and he needed to be across town by noon, which meant he didn't have time enough to deliver the coup de grace to what had lately been his mullet. For the 6th time that morning, Marshall swore. He quit the bathroom for his bedroom, searching to hide the hatchet job he had done on his pate. Digging through his closet, Marshall found a battered white cowboy hat tucked behind a row of nearly identical Hawaiian shirts, cousins to the orange one he had on already. Marshall sized up the hat. Good enough for where I'm going, he sighed. Marshall gathered his phone, wallet, keys, brass knuckles, and S&W Model 36 and headed out the door into the 92-degree California heat. That's all for now. But
oh boy, I'm tantalized. I've said this before about your work, but I love how you like completely demolished the romanticism of like genre fiction, right? Of like this little paragraph completely, like, you can tell who this guy would be in most pieces of crime fiction, right? And this piece like completely demolishes the like tough guy mystique of that kind of character. And also, like, it's a pretty commonplace thing to have the like cancer patient shaves his head and then afterwards he's kind of a tough guy thing, like in Breaking Bad, right? Where like there's this kind of play on Walter White shaves his head because he's got cancer, but now he looks like a badass, right? And I love how you completely, you destroy that idea. And the process of him shaving his head is this agonizing, awkward thing. And he comes out of it looking like an idiot, looking more ridiculous than when he came in. I think that's fantastic, Dawson. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ali Phibb is up next. And did anyone else want to read after Ali? I have no idea because I think I've lost track. Rudy, did anyone sign up for after Ali?
Not that I saw, but does anybody else want to get in there?
In which case, this is kind of last call. If you want to read, put it in the chat while Ali Phibb reads. If not, we'll wrap up after that. Sorry, Ali, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Cool. Yep. Hear you loud and clear.
Let me send you my Twitter to tag.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Okay.
Gotcha.
This is I wrote this a couple of weeks ago. It's just a short thing and draws on a few things.
Would you like me to put the link to it in the chat?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Sure.
It draws on a few things I consumed that day. It's called Jesus Fuck, oh God, help me, oh fuck God, please. I loved her with my life. I loved her so purely that to entertain even a well-placed suspicion felt like a mortal wronging of her. Struggling to find an answer that my heart would accept, my mind conjured up 1,000 alibis, but alas, my square dick could not fit in her round hole. What is it that wise men say? Only fools rush in? No, on the contrary, only fools say this. It is always wise to perish like Icarus. Wise men say, all is fair in love and war. Except for that, come on, man. All in war is so cold. You either win or lose. And love, it's just a crazy game. Even crazier than The Simpsons hit and run for the Nintendo GameCube. How can anyone possibly win a game so unrelenting in its misdirections, so intense in its content, that it dwarfs even the trials of The Simpsons hit and run for the Nintendo GameCube? To win, you must keep that love for the rest of your life or bridge it with another. The flow of love must remain constant as an IV drip would. In the end, the loser is left standing alone, bereaved or heartbroken. Anyways, man, you wouldn't believe how many people showed up to my funeral. It turns out I was pretty well liked. I need you to know something, though. Those nightmares you're having, where like the disfigured corpses of mutant Nazi stormtroopers break your door down, fill your loved ones to the brim with bullet holes, and set fire to your home while you are forced to watch before the knife one of them is holding to your neck finally slits it, that's because of the curse. I died an unnatural death, which is why I'm here right now. And you're cursed too. You have to kill yourself so I can escape this limbo. Kill yourself, David. Break the curse before you hurt others. Please. I'm fucking lonely.
Oh wow, that twist, man! I love this. It started. It like I was laughing my ass off for the first half of this, and then it gets so dark and so ugly so fast. That this is fantastic. And the title, oh my god. No, thank you so much for reading that. That was great.
Thanks.
Is this going to be published somewhere?
I hadn't really thought about it.
Does it have a home?
It does not.
It does not. Well, I'm just gonna say, just so you know, the Misery Tourism theme for February is consent, which maybe squares up a little well with this piece. But obviously, I'm not going to bully or peer pressure you. But thank you. It was an awesome piece. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
consider that.
I love that. The Simpsons hit and run for you. Amazing game, and I love that it was included in that.
Yeah, thank you so much for reading. Does anyone else want to read before we call it a night? No?
I have a strange request, actually.
Okay.
I realized I was an idiot and didn't actually put in the lyrics to that song I read earlier in the chat. Oops. But I was wondering if, since this is Valentine's Day weekend, if it would be appropriate and
Oh no.
let me know if if this is not kosher, just let me know. Anybody, if I could play us out.
You want to play us out?
Yep, with that same song, and maybe you can clip part of it or do whatever you want or whatever you want to do. But I will put the lyrics in the chat this time and see if maybe it hits different.
Oh,
First ever Misery Loves Company encore.
I thought that maybe it was intentional. That's why I didn't say anything. But
Well, yeah, no, I sort of am glad that I didn't, but yeah, I don't know.
that sounds great. So you're going to start the music up. Lyrics are in the chat. And if you're watching this at home, the lyrics will be up on Misery Tourism in the not too distant future. Rudy, what's the name of the piece?
The piece is called Masked Figures.
Watch out for Masked Figures. Rudy Johnson hitting on Misery Tourism sometime this month, motherfucker. Before you start up, I just want to do my usual like bullshit. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, this has been Misery Loves Company. Thank you to everyone who read. We do this every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. We drop the link right on Twitter at Misery Tourism. Okay, cool. It's all yours, Rudy. Fucking take it, play us off, man.
Down, 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 down. Daddy said I was born to sweet it down. Barn, the floor, or field. Down. Don't know much about airplanes. Can calculate a nuclear yield. Swept the Japs' trash off a ridge. For Truman sealed the deal. But all I ever wanted was to sweep sweet Susan Bill off of her feet. Susie, I've got a vibe, yeah, for expanding this human tribe. And you know we're just chimps in the professor's eyes. So tell me why we can't just be. It's an all-day grind, emptying cans, wiping tables off. Then at night you claim that you ignite this man. Black curls and tan, lips much thicker than girls with half your brains, driving me insane. All day in computer land, You're doing numbers for the man. I wish you were doing me. Simple math, girl, 1, 2, 3. Girl, I'm a Christian man. Good old boy with some loving hands. I know your books say E's and C, but square that right with the love in me. Yeah, Susie, I've got a vibe. Yeah, we're expanding this human tribe, and you know we're just chimps in the professor's eyes. So tell me why we can't just be a laboratory somewhere at Langley, just killing time. Your space and mine almost never meet. West versus east. I just wish I could get you in them white sheets. Heart skips a beat, shot down to earth. Head twirling round, golden spiral down. Numbers on your board, them NASA figures scrawled. Forget the southern drawl. Oh, to hell with it all, girl. To hell with it all. Susie, I've got a vibe, yeah. We're expanding this human tribe, and you know we're just chimps in the professor's eyes. So tell me why we can't just be girl, you and me, yeah, me and her, how it ought to be. One man, his girl, one life, two worlds. But it's career suicide, and Sue oh she don't believe in no afterlife. And my drive for expanding this human tribe is all fried, so I guess that after 5, I'll take a ride. Me and the boys yell rebel pride. Robbie Lee, Southern Air, quick hit me. Through the trees, hoods up 100 degrees. Yeah, we'll see. Blazes rise, place that she lives. Way out of town in the ashes of her bed. Will be found nothing but some numbers now. Oh, you know that's my 7 digits. Wow, I didn't need to go and burn it down. Susie, I've got a vibe. Oh, for expanding this human tribe. And you know we're just chimps in the professor's eyes. So tell me why we can't just be